Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, I was waiting for the intro video. Where welcome to the Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and Bigz. He is Grindberg. I am Bigz. We are here. We're button heads today, buddy. We just participated with our guy too much _, Brian, over on the Twitters. Our compatriot at Fantasy Football Advice Network. We just did a best ball draft with him, live and on the air, and now we're here in our team colors because Mike came to party in his Chiefs regalia, and I was like, I'm going to counter with some silver and black. Also, I have a Raiders show coming up later at 8 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, so go to the Undroppables on YouTube and check that out. But this will already have come out, so forget what I just said. Welcome to the show. Producer, hit that intro. Welcome to the Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and Bigz, part of the Fantasy Football Advice Network. I am Bigz. He is Grindberg. We are here to help build your champions. Are you in a family league? Are you in an office league? Are you playing on ESPN.com, Yahoo.com, NFL.com, or over on CBSSports.com? Well, we are your guys to help you through the redraft preseason into the season. And, we'll be here to catch you when you fall in the postseason. What are we doing today, Grindberg?
Well, today we've got some intel on this new running back rookie class coming in, and we've got a couple targets that we're going to go over. Bigz has got, 2 targets. I got 2 targets in the next couple shows here we're going to go over. So today, Bigz is going to talk about his guy, his number one guy, and I'm going to talk about one of my number one guys that I'm going to be targeting in rookie drafts when we talk about the rookie running backs, because there is a lot of uncertainty in this market, and people are kind of confused because, you usually have a number one guy in the last couple of drafts. Last year we had Bijan Robinson, and even Jahmyr Gibbs can fall into that category. The year before we had Breece Hall, and then you got guys like Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobson years before that. So there's always been that one guy that has catapulted himself, ahead of everybody else. But this year, not so much. So we're going to kind of dig a little bit deeper and talk about some guys that Bigz and I have our eyes on headed into this rookie season. And the draft's coming up in the next couple of weeks, so we want you to be prepared for that. So without further ado, we're going to talk about Bigz's guy, and here's a little sneak peek on who he
That wasn't really a sneak peek. That was more of a reveal. So now we're on to Grindberg. Oh, no. Wait, I got to talk about him for a little bit. Okay, so my rookie to focus on at the running back position is going to be Braelon Allen. Braelon Allen is a running back from the University of Wisconsin, and he's going to be somebody that in your redraft leagues you're going to be targeting kind of as your RB 4 or 5 in the draft. That's where you're going to want to place this rookie class. You're going to want to get some starting running backs, some RB1s earlier in the draft, depending on the draft style that you choose, whether it's hero RB or zero RB. He's a perfect zero RB candidate. And the reason for that is because there are certain criteria that we look for when we're trying to find or uncover a running back who fits a certain profile, and that profile leading to top 12 fantasy success in the NFL. The 3 biggest ones. Number 1, age when they enter the draft. Number 2 is breakout age. There's 4. Number 3, I'm totally distracted because normally I have Mike on the thing, and now I feel like I'm all alone. So age. Total age, and Braelon Allen is 20.2 years old. He'll be playing the entire season as a 20-year-old. Number 2 is breakout age. That's the year in which they ascended, and he did that as a freshman. Number 3 is early declare, and he's coming out as after his junior season, and those are all 3 things that we look for. The last thing that we want to see is weight. Weight is so heavily correlated with top 12 fantasy success. And Braelon Allen is a cool 235. I don't know if anybody saw, but he had pictures next to Derrick Henry last week. And now, Derrick Henry is an absolute monster and made Braelon Allen look very small. But I assure you that Braelon Allen is not small at all. So the other thing about Braelon Allen that I really like is his ability to move in small spaces for a big guy. He didn't light the combine on fire in the shuttle drill. He didn't light the combine on fire in the 3-cone. But for his size and the way that he's going to need to be moving behind the line of scrimmage, he's going to be an absolute beast. And if you get him through a hole, he's got good vision. He finds holes. If you get him through that hole, he's going to be hard to take down, especially for your smaller linebackers and your defensive backs. So get him to the second level, and he's going to be trucking people. He may not do make a lot of people miss tackles. He may not break a lot of tackles. But once he hits somebody, he's going to be falling forward for a few extra yards. So that's going to increase his yards per carry. The other thing is he fits the exact profile of a goal line back. So whatever team drafts him is not going to have any problem handing him the ball on 1st and goal from inside the 5-yard line. You look at the Detroit Lions, and they have Jahmyr Gibbs, and he's kind of a smaller guy. He can do a lot in the passing game. He can, break some big runs, but when they really get down to the line of the end zone, they're wanting to give the ball to David Montgomery. Well, Braelon Allen is not going to come out of the game for another guy to get those goal line carries. So we're looking for Braelon Allen's landing spot. We're looking for his draft capital. Where is he going to be taken in the 2nd round and the 3rd round? And I think that in the fantasy space, there's a lot of speculation. And a lot of people are out on Braelon Allen, even though he was the RB1 of the class a couple years ago. Because of that freshman breakout and his size, everybody went, oh my God, this guy's the real business. People have started to they have prospect fatigue with him. And I think the NFL has they marked their calendars and they said, this guy's coming. And they waited for him. And I think there's a heavy possibility that even though he's not talked about in the fantasy space, I think that he's not talked about as the RB1 a whole lot. He's my favorite in the class. I think the NFL is going to have a different take. And I think there are some NFL teams who are like, he's our first running back off the board because he fits the profile. He's an old school smash mouth bell cow. Think of Jerome Bettis. Think of he didn't have a whole lot of passing game stuff at Wisconsin, but that doesn't mean he can't do it. So he's going to have some sneaky upside catching the ball, and then he's just going to be the big hammer that he would be perfect in Tennessee to pair with Tyjae Spears, just hammering at defenses. And so Braelon Allen, watch for him, and don't hesitate to take a chance on him back in the teen rounds, the after round 10 in your redrafts this year.
Yeah, but Bigz, he didn't test. He didn't test at the combine. How could a team get a grade on him if he didn't test?
He's 20 years old. He runs a 4.40 40-yard dash at 235 pounds. He ran at his pro day. He did just fine. He's fast in the open field. The NFL has grades on him, believe me. They've been watching this kid since he was in high school. And, he's going to be a good one. He's definitely going to be a good one.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think that you hit it head there with, these NFL teams are smarter than that. They know he must have some intel as to why he didn't have to test at the combine as well. So I think there's some teams that are going to be heavily invested in Braelon Allen, and I think you hit it right there. They're looking for that kind of bruiser back that can get those red zone touches and can be a very good complementary, a lightning and thunder and lightning type of strike, like you had mentioned, and Tennessee would be a good landing spot for them.
Right.
Yeah, man.
He has excellent contact balance, and he just runs with a lot of power. And now there's a guy named Bruce Feldman, and he writes for The Athletic. And every year he comes out with what he calls the freak list. And in 2023, Braelon Allen was number 34 on his freak list. And I'm going to quote from Bruce Feldman over at The Athletic. He made it on the strength of his power cleaning 406 pounds and clocking a 1.49 in his 10-yard split. So he's super fast and he's super strong. He benched 365 pounds. Allen has bulked up 10 more pounds to 245. Now he did lose some weight, and he weighed in at 235 recently. And he went from 11% body fat to 8% in the offseason. Here's the thing, and this is straight intel from Noah Hills over at Noah More Parties. NoahMoreParties.com. He's a running back guru. I had him on my show the other day, and he was talking about Braelon Allen and the fact that Braelon Allen hitched his star to Derrick Henry a couple years ago, and he's been working out with Derrick Henry in the offseason ever since. That's where that picture came from the other day. Braelon Allen is going to be the next Derrick Henry.
All right, you heard it here from Bigz first, the next Derrick Henry. So get on him now while you can before he is, he's going to win championships in Biggs' eyes. So let's what he can do. Now, let's move on to my guy, and we're going to talk about him right away. All right, so my guy that I have an eye on here, and it's one of, 3 or 4 guys that I kind of want to see where they land, and that's Marshawn Lloyd. In this running back class that is just waiting for someone to emerge, I think Lloyd could be one of those guys, especially if he gets a great landing spot. Lloyd is a good pass blocker. He was good at protecting Caleb Williams last year, and he will be on the field on passing downs as well. There are concerns about his fumbling issues that has plagued his days with the Trojans. Lloyd also tore his ACL back in 2020, and that will also slow his recovery. He was slow to recover from that. This is something worth noting, but that is also baked into his price. He displays impressive stop-start explosiveness, making him adept in evading defenders. He possesses an untapped potential in the passing game, meaning that he can catch passes, and he's going to be on the field on passing downs because of his pass blocking ability. He's got a very good football IQ that's evident in the ability that he can identify blitzes very quickly. Lloyd has the potential to be a starter in this year because he's checked off all those boxes. He isn't the most physical runner because his size isn't there, but he can be a big factor in the passing game. People kind of compare him to like Trey Benson as far as like profiling goes. I do prefer Trey Benson over Marshawn Lloyd because of the fumbling issues Lloyd brings, but I still think with the way he tested at the combine, his speed, his agility, he's gonna garner a lot of attention from these NFL teams. I'm projecting Lloyd to be maybe a late 2nd round, early 3rd round pick, and that should position him well to not only crack an NFL roster, but be a solid contributor right out of the gate because of his pass catching abilities. It'll allow him to line up as a receiver on the line as well. So big things could be on the horizon for Marshawn Lloyd, and his combine showed that he is an athletic body that can catch a lot of passes. So we'll see what happens with Marshawn Lloyd, but I really do think that guy can be a guy that can be a head turner come draft day if he lands in the right spot.
Yep, absolutely. I just wish he hadn't gone to USC because then I'd probably like him more.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, a lot of these guys, like I said, it's fluid until we know about where they land. A guy like Braelon Allen, though, like you had mentioned, is a guy that's almost like proof of where he lands because he's going to probably start somewhere, and these teams are going to be looking for that. A guy like Marshawn Lloyd is going to have to land in the right situation for him to see those valuable carries, and I still think he's got the testing to do it, and hopefully he gets a good landing spot for us.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's a good show. We knocked it out.
Yeah, man.
Knocked it out of the park.
We knocked it out. Boom. And we'll be back next week with our next show, not next week. I mean, we come pretty regularly here, and we'll probably have another show out in a day or two, and it's going to be our second batch here. Who do you think about profiling next week there by Bigz next show?
My uncle Matt was a pretty smart guy. He went to MIT and got a PhD there, and then started his own consulting company and stuff. So I could totally do something on him.
Let's do it. On him. And
Okay.
I got a guy that is he's quite the baker here in Winnipeg. He's started a very large bakery, and I think he could be a guy that we could profile as well. His buns are fresh.
I have my own sourdough starter.
I love it.
Her name is Bridget. That is not. I'm 100% no lies there. She's in my refrigerator. Sure, her name is Bridget, and she is my sourdough starter.
I love it. Well, that's it for us today on the Fantasy Forecast on the Fantasy Football Advice Network. Be sure to join us, follow us everywhere we go, because we're gonna bring top-notch content for you. You can get ahead of your league mates and all those leagues that you're in. Bigz, you want to tell the folks a little bit about where they can find you and stuff?
Go to Twitter and search at BigBoneded. That's BIGBONEDED FFB. All of that rhymes. At BigBoneded FFB on Twitter. I'm here at Fantasy Football Advice Network, doing the fantasy forecast with Grindberg, and it's a pleasure. We also do content over at the Undroppables, so find them on theundroppables.com, and also search YouTube for the Undroppables. I do a Raiders show. He does a Chiefs show. Last week, I launched the Chef's Corner, which we're both going to be a part of, doing food and lifestyle content. Also, the Dynasty Pulse over on Fantasy Football Plus Network. Look for that. We have the Dynasty Pulse, and then the Fantasy Burn. Go ahead and then launch that and find out how people get into the fantasy football content creating business in the first place. I got a lot of interviews over there, and I got more to come. I got a huge series of positional experts that relate to Dynasty and Devi, with some really, really sharp positional gurus. That series started. It's going to debut tomorrow with running backs. Next week is going to be tight ends, and then quarterbacks and wide receivers getting ready for the draft. So, and then on playerprofiler.com, go to Player Profiler News on YouTube, and Mike and I each have a show. He does Wednesdays,
Yeah.
And I do Fridays, and that's basically just like an NFL news show, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, just a little half-hour quick show going over the news, and we're everywhere, man. We are everywhere, man. And
we gone everywhere, man.
Come find us.
Oh, come find us, and find us here, especially on the Fantasy Football Advice Network, where you're going to find us, doing this redraft stuff. So appreciate you all for tuning in. You can find me on the X Bomb, or Twitter, as Bigz would call it, at FFCanuck99, and that is it for us for the Fantasy Forecast.
Or if you're not doing anything, August 15th to 18th, go to Canton, Ohio. Go to the NFL Hall of Fame, and then find the FFAN booth at the network, or at the Expo, and we'll say hi.
You will. Cheers from both of us. Have a great night.